I'm Jim Thompson, and I want to welcome you to this very short video on how to kill your time wasters. In the video I shared with you a little while ago, I talked about getting more productive time each and every day. And along with that, and a way to also get more time is to kill some of the time wasters that we all experience each and every day. I know there's a number of time wasters, but what I really want to do is touch on just three. The three I think are the biggest time wasters, the biggest problems that attorneys have as far as getting control of your time. So I want to introduce you to someone. I want to introduce you to the time bandit. This is the critter that lurks all around us, trying to steal the time that we have each and every day. Well, I am going to show you some of the ways that you can boot this time bandit out of your life. Before I actually get into some of the areas that the time bandit is really good at, I want to talk a little bit about multitasking. And I'm going to share with you in the next slide an incredible studies or many incredible studies that have been done with multitasking. And I'm sure that most of you listening to this are probably multitasking. I do the same thing, and probably 95% of the people I know, the attorneys I know, everyone does multitasking. We're all got so much going on that we have to get done. So we do this and we do that. We got a screen open to five different things and all the other stuff that's going on. But the truth is that task switching is very inefficient. And that is one of the reasons that distractions, and we'll talk about distractions in a minute, and interruptions can cost you so much. There was a study done regarding multitasking, and this professor, Ms. Lapis, she did this study, and I wish I had the citation for you, but I don't. And if anybody is interested, I'll be glad to go back and look at it. But basically, what she said was multitasking is one of the most common practices that reduces productivity and also increases your stress level. Even though you may be good at it, she quoted some studies that were done by some of the leading universities, including Harvard and some of the other ones, and they found that multitasking significantly decreases speed and accuracy. Multitasking takes 50% longer than doing one task after another. Harvard University was able to test the IQ of people who continued to write a report while they spoke on the phone, which we've all done, I'm sure. And basically, what they found is that your IQ, if you're doing this, drops to that of an 8-year-old. I just hope that's food for thought. You know, people are always doing studies, and this is something that I found was pretty interesting. And not sure I totally believe it. And I think some of it has to do with how long the distraction is. But basically, it says if you're doing something and you're interrupted in the middle of it, once you get back to it, how long does it take you to get back to where you were before you were interrupted? Now, they've done these studies, as I said, and it shows that it sometimes takes up to 20 minutes to get back to where you were before you were interrupted on average. And again, that probably has to do whether it's a 15-minute interruption or a, hey, John, how you doing? Where's the thing? Boom. Okay, now you can get back to it. But if you are interrupted, say, every 20 minutes, you'll end up the day having nothing productive done. Think about that. I want to talk now about what I believe are the three biggest time wasters that affect an attorney's day. And obviously, one of them is the interruptions. People coming into your office uninvited and not knocking, just stopping by to say how did you like the Hawks game last night, or how did you like this? Nothing really productive. So there's only one way to really stop this, and that is to make sure that the people in your office know that when your door is closed, they do not, under any circumstances, disturb you. They do not open the door and come into your office. Now, this is going to take some willpower from your standpoint to get the word around. Now, if you have a small office, you're no real problem. But if you're in a larger office, you need to make sure that everyone in your office knows that when your door is closed, you are working on something very important and you just cannot take the time to be disturbed. And maybe others in your office will also get the message and also do the same thing that you are doing. Now, with your secretary or receptionist, make sure that they know that if your door is closed and somebody comes and wants to see you, she has to be the gatekeeper. She has to be, I guess, the mean person, if you will. But just let them know when your door is closed, nobody gets in. Now, if on the opposite point of view, if your door is open, then they're more than welcome to come in and chat with you or share something with you or whatever they want to do. But when that door is closed, that means nobody gets in. Now, many times when you have a big project due, say you've got to block out 4 or 5 hours of time to really concentrate on getting something done. Find a friend like I did that has a nice place where you can go and be totally isolated from the world to get your project done. Now, uh, maybe you don't have a friend that has this type of setup. So then the next best alternative is to find a friend that has a place similar to this where you are totally isolated and you've got nothing else that you can possibly be doing but working on your project. I shared this with you because you know, sometimes, like I said, you just need to get away and to be kind of, uh, I did this a bit tongue in cheek, but let's just say you need to get away. Find a fellow attorney in another law firm, perhaps, or somewhere where you can go and just work. Maybe they've got a conference room that you could sit down for 3 or 4 hours and not be disturbed. And likewise, make the same invitation to them that if they have something that they need to get done and need to get out of their office so that they will not be disturbed, then you reciprocate. This is a great way also to build a relationship, as I've talked about earlier, with attorneys so that you can possibly get referrals back and forth. Well, here we go. The telephone. You either love it or you hate it. Obviously, we have to love it because we want people to call us so that we can get more business. But we hate it because of the interruptions that it can cause. And something that I learned from an attorney who's very well established as a malpractice attorney uh, taught not just me, but a bunch of other folks on how to let your clients understand about your returning phone calls. And I think this was brilliant. Now it's going to be tough to do, but I think once you start it, your clients will understand. And it's simply this: when you get a new client in, you talk to them about how your procedures, what your procedures are as far as keeping in touch with them, the correspondence you're going to send them, and all the other things that go along with the intake. But you also let them know about phone calls. And here's what you tell them: that you will return phone calls at such and such time, whatever it is. I'm just going to say maybe you can say you return your phone calls from noon to 1, whatever you want to say, or maybe from 4:30 to 5:30, whatever. And here's the other thing: make sure they understand that if your secretary says you're not available, that means a number of different things. But if you're on the phone, she can even let them know that you're on working on a very intense project, and you've already set that client up to know that if they call in and you're not available, then it means they're working on somebody's case and you do not want to be disturbed, right? And you flip that around and you say to them, now, if I'm working on your case, would you want me to take phone calls and be interrupted when I have to get something done for you. So this is why I don't take phone calls except at certain times, and I will return phone calls at certain times. This is going to be hard to do, trust me, but you've got to start it if you want to control your phone calls from clients and not get into this problem where, oh, so and so didn't return my phone calls, I didn't communicate with me, so you get a bar complaint. You let them know right up front, this is exactly what you're going to do with regard to phone calls. Here's another one of the biggest time wasters. And I don't even know whether AOL still exists anymore. Actually, I do know it does because I have a couple of attorneys who still have AOL accounts. But here's the thing with mail. Let your clients know that you will only look at your email at certain times. Again, like at 11:30 to noon or whatever you want to do, whatever's comfortable for you, but that you are not going to respond to their email right away because you simply have other projects you're working on for other clients. And again, the same goes true. If you're working on something for them, they certainly wouldn't want you to be interrupted to answer emails. And I think once you get that across to clients, especially if they know what your parameters are, then you're going to be a lot better off. Now, I remember many years ago, I was sitting with an attorney, and we were having breakfast, and his phone went, the notification he got an email, so he picks it up, right away. He answers that. Okay, he gets another email. He answers it right away. He gets a phone call. He calls that person back right away. Here's what he has done. He has set up an expectation. So if I send you a text or I call you, I expect you to call me back right away because you've set yourself up to do this. And trust me, if I call you and you haven't done this and you don't call me back right away, I'm going to get upset with you because all the other times you've called me back right away. So you've got to let your clients know what your parameters are. This is a another time waster, and obviously, I've seen attorneys' offices like this, and the truth be told, sometimes my office looked like this. But you've got to find a way to get yourself organized, and if you can't do it yourself, I would suggest that you hire somebody to come in and get you organized. Because if it takes you 15 minutes to look for a file, or it takes you even 5 minutes to look for a file, or 10 minutes to look for a piece of paper you've written a note on, think of how much time you have wasted. But I also want you to think in terms of, okay, this is what you bill per hour. Say you're billing $300 an hour, and it takes you 15 minutes to locate a file. How much have you just wasted? So think in those terms. Think of how much it costs you, and you'll get yourself organized. And once you get yourself organized, then you can try to stay organized. And if you've got a secretary or a receptionist who is very good at keeping you organized, that person is really gold. Bottom line is, don't let your office look like this. I love this little reminder. It's a round to it. And so many people say, yeah, Jim, I'm going to get around to it. When you think about doing something, think about this little round to it. Do it now. Don't wait till you say, oh, I'll get around to it, whatever. I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. You know what happens? We never get around to it. So hopefully this presentation, you'll think about it, and rather than getting around to it, you're going to start doing some of the things we talked about. I hope you found value in this presentation, and I tried to keep it very short so that you can think about some of the things that I talked about, and if need be, you can go back and take a look and maybe institute one or two of the things we talk about. Again, you don't have to do everything all at once. Take one or two things and start doing those things, and then add something else and add something else. But in any event, again, I want to make this presentation. I wanted to make this presentation to you because I know so many people that I talk to always say, well, Jim, All these things come up during the day, and I just can't get things done. So maybe this will help you. And the other thing is, if you come up with something that I didn't mention, or you've got some other technique that you use, please share that with me, and then I can share it with others. Because we're all in this together, and we all have to help each other. So again, um, I wish you luck. And again, if you have any questions, or if you have any comments, or if you have any thoughts, please send me an email.